Welcome to the program. Tension is mounting in Thailand after one person was killed in gunfire and several others injured. Violent clashes broke out in the capital Bangkok between pro and anti-government protesters. A group of demonstrators attacked vehicles carrying rival protesters who'd come out in support of the Prime Minister. Wayne Hay has more.
There was always a concern that this part of Bangkok could become a flashpoint with large groups of protesters from the rival camps gathering very close to each other. The violence has left one person dead from a gunshot wound and others.
This happening as the anti-government protesters prepare for Sunday, a day when they say they will topple the government.
3 years after they took to the streets as an anti-government group, the so-called red shirts are back in Bangkok. This time they're gathering in a stadium trying to protect the government of Prime Minister Yingluck in the face of growing opposition. Many of them have travelled from the red shirt strongholds in the north and northeast. Among them, Rewat Intum, who says he can't believe he has to return to rally in support of a government that won the election comfortably.
I'm exhausted. Instead of working for a living, I have to be here to fight for I don't know what. What happened to this country?
Outside the stadium, it didn't take long for the situation to turn ugly. A group of anti-government protesters had gathered throughout the afternoon. On occasions, they attacked those suspected of being government. Up until now, the opposing sides have largely kept their distance from each other, and Thailand's political divisions are wide. Keeping the groups apart may become increasingly difficult in the days ahead. Speaking to Aljazeera, the Prime Minister again issued a plea for the protest leaders to enter negotiations with the government.
If he loves the country, please do not hurt the country. Please do not hurt the economy. So I think I'm not have any bias. I don't have any it doesn't mean that who will win, who will lose, but the lose is the country.
One of the next goals for the anti-government group is to seize the Prime Minister's office. Some other facilities have been taken over with ease, but Government House is now heavily fortified. On the other side of Bangkok, the Prime Minister's supporters are partying like they've done so many times before. At the moment, the red shirts are saying they will stay here in this stadium to show their support for the government, a government they fought to bring to power. But they're watching developments on the outside closely and say if things change, they may make a move.
If government cannot control the situation, we need to consider what should we do.
This is becoming an increasingly nervous country where people worry it's about to enter another violent chapter. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Bangkok.
This is Al Jazeera.
And welcome to the News Hour live from the Al Jazeera News Centre in Doha. I'm Rob Matheson. These are the main stories. After deadly violence between rival demonstrators in Thailand, supporters of the government decide to end their protests. And good to have you with us. Now, government supporters in Thailand have decided to end their protests. The decision comes after at least one person was killed and several injured during clashes between supporters and opponents of Prime Minister Yingluck. Now, Wayne Hay joins us now live from Government House in Bangkok, where protesters are expected to gather. Wayne, what difference is it going to make that this pro-government rally is being cancelled?
Well, if anything, it may embolden the anti-government group, which is saying that today, Sunday, will be the day that it topples the government led by Prime Minister Yingluck. To do that, it is spreading its protest around to 10 other key locations around the capital city, Bangkok, including here at Government House. They're not just going to come and protest outside Government House. They say they will seize it. They will take it from the government. Government House, of course, where the Prime Minister So if anything, the decision by the pro-government red shirts to call off that to topple the government, as they say.
Wayne, we can hear the protests going on behind you. The government's been holding off using force up until this point. Do you think that's going to change as the anti-government protesters gain so much ground?
Well, they're still saying, statements coming from the Prime Minister's office, that they are reluctant to use force against the protesters, even in the area where that violence has been taking place overnight in the suburb of Ramkhamhaeng. There is very little police presence there, and that is one of the main reasons that the red shirts have decided to call off that protest, because they cannot guarantee the safety of their people inside that stadium. So they have pretty much all dispersed now. One measure the government has taken is to ask the military for help. Now, they are not on the streets of Bangkok yet because we haven't had a state of emergency being declared by the government. That could be the next step over the next few hours. But some 3,000 soldiers have been deployed to help protect those facilities that the anti-government protesters want to go to, including Government House. So there are soldiers inside those facilities, but the government saying at the moment they are unmanned.
Wayne Hay in Bangkok, thank you very much.
The Ukrainian president has condemned a crackdown on protests in the capital Kiev. Riot police clashed with